Once upon a time, in a small town in the countryside of England, there lived a 25-year-old young man named James Carter. James was a dreamer. He always wanted to achieve something great in life, but his mind never felt calm. Every night when he tried to sleep, hundreds of thoughts came rushing in. He thought about his past mistakes, about the times he had failed in school, about the jobs he had lost. He also worried about his future. What if I never become successful? What if people laugh at me because of these thoughts? James felt trapped. He often sat by his window at night, staring at the stars, asking himself, why can't I find peace? Why does my heart always feel so heavy? One day, James heard about a wise teacher who lived on the edge of town. The teacher was an old professor, once very famous in London, who had now retired to live a quiet life surrounded by nature. People said that whoever spoke to him would leave with a new way of thinking. James, tired of his restless mind, decided to visit him. When he arrived, he found the old professor sitting in his garden, sipping tea quietly. There was no noise around him, only the sound of the wind moving through the trees. James bowed his head and said softly, "Sir, my mind is like a battlefield. Thoughts attack me from every side. I can't stop worrying about yesterday, and I can't stop fearing tomorrow. Please tell me how to find peace." The professor smiled gently and said, "James, if you really want peace, I will give you a small task." He went inside his little house and came back holding an empty glass jar. He handed it to James and said, "Take this jar and fill it with water from the stream down the road. But while you are walking back, you must not spill even a single drop." James looked confused, but he agreed. He carefully filled the jar to the very top with water. Then he began walking back slowly. The road was full of people, children playing, shopkeepers shouting, dogs barking. But James did not look at anything. His eyes stayed fixed only on the jar in his hands. Step by step, he moved carefully until finally he returned to the professor without spilling a single drop. He smiled proudly and said, "Sir, I did it." Not a single drop of water fell. The professor nodded. Then he asked calmly, "Good. But tell me, James, did you see the flowers blooming on the roadside? Did you hear the birds singing above you? Did you notice the laughter of the children?" James shook his head. "No, sir. I didn't see or hear anything. I was too focused on the jar." The professor leaned closer and said, "That, my boy, is the lesson. Your mind is like this jar. When you keep it fixed on one thing, the present moment, all the noise of the world fades away. You no longer drown in the past or fear the future. You simply live here and now, and in that moment, peace appears." James stood still, realizing the truth in those words. For the first time in years, he felt light. He understood that peace was never outside, never in money, success, or approval. It was always within him, hidden under the storm of his thoughts. That evening, as James walked home, the sky was painted with the colors of sunset. Birds flew back to their nests. The air smelled fresh, and James smiled to himself. His mind was no longer a battlefield. He had discovered a secret. Peace is not something you chase. Peace is something you allow. From that day, whenever worries filled his mind, James would close his eyes, take a deep breath, and remind himself, "I am here, I am alive, this moment is enough." And slowly, his restless nights disappeared. His heart became lighter, and his smile returned. If you liked this story, Don't forget to share it with others. Someone you know might need these words today. Stay strong, live in the present, and remember, peace is already inside you.